That's what I expected to see. Okay, and welcome back. Now, I said a little earlier that people don't fail, processes fail, and that's true, but people are fallible. No matter how good they are, no matter how much money you pay them, or how many letters they may have after their names, humans are prone to making mistakes from time to time. Now, in the bad old days, the solution would have been to add a checking function, because when you get two sets of eyes on the job, the chances of errors finding their way to your customer are reduced, not eliminated, but reduced. But this gives us two problems. One old problem, what if the checker also makes a mistake? And a new problem, you've just doubled your labour cost. So that's one solution, but wouldn't it be better to gear things to make it almost impossible for humans to make the error in the first place? Now, in the field of lean manufacturing, which we touched on a little earlier, it has a term for this, and it's called poka-yoke. Now, poka-yoke is from the Japanese poka, meaning mistakes, and yokeru, meaning avoid. And as the name suggests, it's all about avoiding mistakes. If you look, you will find examples of poka-yoke all around you. You'll be using them every day and you may never have noticed. And here are a few. Microwave ovens, they will not operate if the door is open. Overflows, that little hole near the top of your sink that stops you from having a flood. Washing machines will not start if the door is open, and the door will not open until the cycle stops. On your computer, USB plugs, they will only go into the socket one way. Okay, now I always cover this with my teams wherever there is a process, and that's just about everywhere. Test the process for failure points, and if there is any ambiguity, any chance for failure, change your process. Give yourself every chance of succeeding. And here's a really simple solution to a quality issue that had persisted within one business since day one. Now, this business sold products, nothing revolutionary there then. They sold thousands in small quantities and a few lines in volume, and the problem was in the volume lines. Now, when the order pickers had a variety of items to pick, the error rate was very low, because the nature of looking at a bunch of different things makes it less likely to make a mistake. I'll give you a real life example. Now, most of us go shopping, and a lot of us will take a shopping list with us if we have more than a few items to buy. So let's imagine we're going to buy furniture polish, strawberries, nappies and a tin of soup. An unusual shopping list, but that's our shopping list. So we take our list, we go to the appropriate area of the store, and we drop the items in our basket, and we're done. We wouldn't accidentally pick up a cauliflower in place of the strawberries because they look different. We know what strawberries look like, so our senses will guide us to them. If we accidentally picked up a cauliflower, we would notice. But what if you wanted to buy tangerines or clementines? Not sure how you pronounce that. You know, those little oranges. Now, generally in a supermarket, all orange type products are grouped together for convenience. So you will have both tangerines and clementines right next to each other, and they look pretty much alike. Now, when you get there, you're aware of this, so you pay particular attention to the labelling. You take the time to read it and you pick the right one. Result. But could you get that right twice a day? Yeah, you probably could. 10 times a day? Pretty much. If you were to do it 1,000 times a day? Now, here's a curious thing that happens with humans. If we repeat an activity like this enough, we can see what we expect to see, even if it's not. After 2 hours of picking both, I may well pick up my shopping list, see that I want tangerines, pick up clementines, read the label and say, yep, they're tangerines. And this is the exact problem we had with the volume lines. The packaging was almost identical. One said product AA and one said product BB. 2 characters difference. Now imagine if you're picking AAs and BBs all day. Any chance that you could ever make a mistake and get them mixed up? Of course there is. Now, as these were volume lines, that is, we sold thousands of them every day, rather than just putting a box of AAs and a box of BBs on a bench and expect all the pickers to select the right one every single time, we changed the way the orders were sorted. Previously, they were printed out and distributed as the orders were raised by the boys and girls in the sales team, so a mix of both. But we did have the option to print by product, so all the AA orders would print, and then all the BB orders would print. All we needed to do was then give the AA orders to the AA team and ensure that only boxes of AA product went to their benches. Now, way down the other end of the assembly line, 50 yards away, the BB team would only receive BB orders and BB product. Now we only had two checks. Did the BB team get the BB orders, and did the BB team get the BB stock? And the same for the AA. Get that right and it's almost impossible to get it wrong. Now, not only did we eliminate the errors and therefore the customer complaints, we actually increased output because the pickers did not have to stop and check every individual pick note to see if the customer wanted AA or BB. After that initial check, when the pick notes and the stock arrived, they went on autopilot. Now, while we're talking about this kind of thing, I'll give you another perfect example I saw in the stationery industry when I was on a facility tour of a wholesaler. Pens. They sold millions of pens. They sold cases of pens, boxes of pens, and they sold pens individually. Now, the cases and boxes were picked by an automated system, which was very cool, but if a customer only wanted a couple, they were still picked by hand. Now, originally, all pens, the red pens, the blue pens, the green pens, and the black, were all stored next to each other, just like the oranges in our supermarket. But if you're picking hundreds a day, you could easily pick the wrong colour, and this is what they did. It was a stroke of genius. They stored each of the 4 colours in totally separate locations, which meant you couldn't accidentally put your hand in the blue pen box when you actually wanted a black pen. How clever is that? So, error proofing is a valuable tool, and there will be many opportunities where you can utilize it to make things better. Now, we've covered time and tools. Let's have a look at our third T, talent. I'll see you in the next lecture.